Live from Dallas and Fort Worth, this is CBS 11 News at 5. The ones for Texas.
He has put his entire presidency on the line here.
From Capitol Hill to North Texas, Americans share their thoughts on the denuclearization deal signed by the U.S. and North Korea. Right now at 5, spring storms popped up in several of our counties this afternoon.
So let's get an update. Chief Meteorologist Scott Padgett tracking those, and I'll beg the question, any more coming tonight?
We're looking at it for tonight there, Doug and Gilma. Taking a look at what was going on the radar through the day today and into the afternoon hours. We did see some shower and thunderstorm activity push its way out of Oklahoma, some outflow boundaries allowing some more storms to develop. Now going into the late afternoon hours, they have died out for us, but the cloud cover is still sticking around. On the wide view, big area of high pressure in the upper levels holding on for us out to the west, so that's why the steering flow had any activity in Oklahoma work its way north to south. At the airport for today, our temperatures topped out in the mid-90s, about 94 degrees. 40 of the last 42 days have had above average high temperatures. You can still see we're pretty warm at 96 in Azle, to 90 in Frisco, to 91 in Mesquite. So temperatures a little bit cooler up towards the Red River counties. Gainesville right now at 82. We're at 88 in Paris. I am forecasting colder air in the 7-day forecast. I'll show you exactly when that arrives coming up.
Scott, thanks. CBS 11, you're home to the Texas weather experts, of course. Keep them with you 24/7. All you got to do is download that free CBS DFW weather app. Anytime there's any watches or warnings issued for your specific area, you will be the first to know. All new at 5 o'clock, Burleson police released 911 calls from a deadly road rage shooting today.
Our Jason Allen just reviewed the tapes. He's live in Burleson with the new information. Jason?
And Gilma, in the last hour, we learned that this road rage incident, this pursuit, this chase was happening right up until the victims pulled into the Burleson Police Department. And police ended up finding the shooter because people from not too far away called and said they saw somebody out walking around in circles and waving a gun around. Police ended up arresting Keelan Warren for the shooting. They ended up finding him with a friend who said Warren had called to pick him up. Friend said Warren told him his car had been hit and he was chasing the person who hit him. Now, that is a different story than what you're now going to hear on at least one of the 911 calls that came in during this incident. You're going to hear a friend of Todd Neal Jr. call police to say someone is chasing him. He says he doesn't know who it is or why they're after him, and at that point, he believes that his friend, Neal, is already dead.
I have a car following me, trailing me. I don't know who they are. They started shooting at us. My friend is shot dead right beside me, sir. Ma'am, they shot right. I'm headed to the Burleson Police Department.
Where are you at, sir?
I'm coming down Summercrest. The car is still following me. They have a gun, ma'am, and they are firing at the car. My friend is dead beside me, ma'am.
When that car pulled into the Burleson Police Department, they said there were multiple holes in the passenger side of the vehicle. When they ended up finding Keelan Warren, they said that he had a large amount of cash with him, but he did not have a gun when they got there. They did find a shell casing inside of that car, and they said that that shell casing matched the shells from another shooting that Warren had previously been connected to in Fort Worth. That's the latest from Burleson this afternoon. Live here in Burleson, Jason Allen, CBS 11 News.
Jason, thank you so much. President Trump heading home right now following that historic meeting with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un.
About an hour ago, he sent a series of tweets about his visit. One says, quote, got along great with Kim Jong-un, who wants to see wonderful things for his country. As I said earlier today, anyone can make war, but only the most courageous can make peace. Hashtag Singapore Summit. But that summit is raising new concerns today about what happens next.
Questions remain about how and, of course, when North Korea might abandon its nuclear program. As of right now, this is all just a promise, but history has not shown Pyongyang, the regime itself, to follow through on a lot of promises with the West. Time is going to tell on that note. Also, President Trump vowed to end U.S.-South Korean military drills. He called them war games. South Korea, for the record, has issued a statement saying that the nation needed more clarification on exactly what the president meant about those exercises. The president also expressed a desire to bring home thousands of troops stationed in South Korea right now. He said more meetings are needed, and he also does plan to invite Kim to the White House at some point to continue talks.
More details of the meeting are expected to be released at the White House next week, but some members of Congress say they don't like what they've heard so far. Camilla Bernal with their reactions.
The next steps in negotiation will test whether we can get to a verifiable deal
The Senate Majority Leader showing his support for the denuclearization pledge, but other Republicans still skeptical, given the lack of specifics in the agreement and the fact that the North has made similar denuclearization pledges in the past.
I think it's important that we don't lose sight of the fact that Kim Jong-un is a butcher, and he is a butcher of his own people.
I'm a trust but verify guy.
Democrats also showing doubts.
I have to be honest with you, this is the weakest statement I have ever seen come out of any engagement with North Korea.
But President Trump says he believes Kim Jong-un will keep his word.
We signed a very, very comprehensive document, and I believe he's going to live up to that document.
In Washington, I'm Camila Bernal.
So many thoughts, so many opinions on this, and one woman in particular who escaped North Korea years ago now calls North Texas home, and our Jack Fink spoke with her about the historic summit between the two countries. He's live in Dallas. Jack, so many thoughts, as I mentioned, from so many in our country. Very interested to hear her take.
Well, Doug, Myung-hee escaped North Korea 20 years ago, and she says she doesn't believe a word Kim Jong-un says. She moved to North Texas back in 2010, about a year and a half after she arrived in the U.S. She told me she saw the historic summit between President Trump and Un on TV last night, but because she works in the early morning hours, hasn't had a chance to read the details. But says Un only met with the president because he was concerned and is trying to preserve what he has. She's not optimistic that North Korea will follow through on its promises about denuclearizing the Korean peninsula because nuclear weapons are the core to their defense. We spoke with her through a translator.
그렇죠. The nuclear weapon was studied, his parents, his father and grandfather's era to study with many years back and continued on. And they kept saying that they are not going to do nuclear weapon, but they kept it.
Says conditions are not great in North Korea, but says they have gotten better since the 1990s. She also believes the country is going into bankruptcy eventually. She is a profile in courage. When she escaped 20 years ago, she left her 2 young daughters and a husband behind and wasn't reunited with her daughters until 10 years later. More on her story coming up at 6. Live in Dallas, Jack Fink, CBS 11 News.
Interesting insight. Jack, thank you so much. Be sure to count on CBS 11 for continuing coverage on air and online of President Trump's meeting with Kim Jong-un and the developments that'll come. CBS Evening News tonight will have an in-depth coverage from Singapore. That'll be with Jeff Glor coming up at 5:30.
Tonight, police are searching for the driver who led them on a 45-minute chase from McKinney to Dallas. At one point, heading the wrong way in traffic, narrowly missing cars. Our Chopper 11 caught it on camera. Aaron Jones is live where the driver dumped the truck before running off. Aaron?
Gilma, the car chase ended here at a parking garage off 75 and Walnut Hill. The man police were chasing dropped the car there, and then he came over to this fence. He actually jumped this fence at this apartment complex, and it's more than 6 feet tall. Chopper 11 getting it all on video. The driver first heading from McKinney south on 75 to Dallas, and as you can see, the driver weaving in and out of traffic, jumping curbs, and even going the wrong way, just barely missing drivers. After dropping the truck off at the parking garage, he gets out, he starts running. As I was saying, he hops over the fence at Lakeside off North Park, and it appears that he's carrying a black bag and wearing gloves. Police say he then headed to a wooded area nearby. They looked for him for more than 2 hours before calling off their search. And tonight, Plano police tell us that the truck that he was driving was stolen around 10:30 this morning from a landscaping business. They say tonight they're searching that truck and they're dusting it for prints, trying to identify the driver. Reporting live in Dallas, Aaron Jones, CBS 11 News.
Aaron, thank you. Some breaking traffic news to tell you about. A vehicle fire on I-30 at Bass Pro Shops in Garland. This is on the ramp, not on the main highway. A semi-trailer caught fire, but the cab does not appear to have been impacted. We've not heard of any injuries thus far, but are working to gather more details, and as we get them, we will bring them to you.
A 12-year-old girl tonight remains in critical condition. Police are right now searching for two young men suspected of shooting her and her 15-year-old brother. Steve Pickett live for us at Dallas Police Headquarters to tell us more. Steve, understanding is this was initially an online sales transaction?
Yeah, Doug, you're right. There were four people in that car in all. As you mentioned, the 15-year-old also shot, but it was a 17-year-old brother who was driving. He was headed to that location to complete an online sale of a cell phone. Police say it wasn't a sell at all, that these suspects were planning to rob these individuals, and they started shooting. Dallas police roamed the streets of the small southern Dallas community known as Joppy this morning, looking for anyone to offer information. Just after midnight, just 3 miles from Joppy, police found 4 teenagers in a car, 2 of them hit with gunfire. A 12-year-old girl in the back seat is now in the hospital in critical condition.
Just imagine if that was your child, needing somebody to come forward with information.
Dallas police confirmed the 4 teenagers were meeting buyers of a cell phone they were selling. Police say it was a setup, a planned robbery. A 15-year-old grazed by a bullet. The 12-year-old girl in the back seat also hit. Police say an online app-based transaction turned into violence when one of 2 suspects ran up and opened fire. Detectives are now appealing to those who live in the Joppy area, believing someone there can lead police to those suspects.
Somebody out there, this area where the shooting took place, community knows each other very well. These younger children, kids, teenagers talk a lot. So I'd encourage the parents of these children that if they hear something, say something.
You heard the chief use the term children because they believe the suspects are no older than 20, anywhere from 17 to 20 years of age, and they need to find them. Reporting live, Steve Pickett, CBS 11 News.
Steve, thank you. It's the art exhibit that thousands of people are lining up to see, and its only Texas stop is right here in DFW. We're going to take you inside the attraction that won't be around for long. Ben?
Trying to corral a 1-year-old boy running across 59.
You heard that right. The officer coming across a 1-year-old boy who is running by himself along that busy road.
And it is your last chance to be a Toys R Us kid. How the toy store is now enticing people to pay one final visit before it closes its doors forever. Dallas-based AT&T can move forward with its buyout of Time Warner. The Justice Department argued the $85 billion deal would harm customers. But today, a federal judge rejected the argument, saying the merger does not violate antitrust law. According to CNN, AT&T agreed to wait 6 days before closing the deal to give the government time to appeal. The deal was originally set to close next Wednesday.
Former President George Herbert Walker Bush is setting records today. He is celebrating his 94th birthday with his family at his home in Kennebunkport, Maine. This is the first former U.S. president to reach that age. The president's spokesman, Jim McGrath, tweeted a big thank you from the president today for the birthday wishes. He says he is touched by all the messages received today and that he definitely appreciates hearing from everybody.
The city of Arlington moves closer to opening its new downtown library. The 3-story, 80,000-square-foot building opened Saturday morning. It's named after George W. Hawks, a local longtime newspaper publisher. Today, city leaders tweeted this photo of crews preparing to put his name on the building. A new art exhibit, only in its second day on display in Fort Worth, is already setting records. Ken Malacina takes us to the Modern Art Museum for a rare collection that's drawing in crowds of all ages.
A burst of wild colors and whimsical depictions of Japanese pop and folk art are colliding and taking over the Modern Museum of Fort Worth. This exhibit is Takashi Murakami, The Octopus Eats Its Own Leg. And Sunday's opening set the record for highest attendance of any opening with just under 3,000.
We missed our flight, so we ended up renting a car, and it took us about 24 hours of nonstop driving to get here.
Paul Bueno and his family traveled from California to be here. They're just a few of many who've come from across the country and even the globe, and they showed up in full Murakami garb with shirts and shoes depicting some of the artist's most iconic work.
We were big fans of like comics and anime, and he just kind of speaks to the new generation, almost kind of Warholish.
Murakami is known in popular culture for his collaborations with hip-hop artists like Kanye West, designers like Louis Vuitton, and shoe brand Vans.
So he's one of the few artists, there really aren't that many, who straddle the line between fine art and commerce.
The art itself is something of a blend between happy and ghoulish-looking characters mixed with folkloric Japanese history, and all of it has plenty of color.
Really, his work encompasses all of those things, current days as well as the past.
By us coming here and looking at Murakami stuff, we actually learned a lot about Fort Worth, and that I'd never known before, and also just about Texas altogether.
Just so you know, this exhibit has only been to 3 cities. It'll only go to 3 cities: Vancouver, Chicago, and right here, Funky Town, Fort Worth. If you want to come out here and see it, you have until September 16th. At the Modern, Ken Molestina, CBS 11 News.
Cowboys and culture. And there are some deals for anyone checking out the exhibit. The museum will offer free admission on Fridays and half-price tickets on Sundays. But it's so fun to see art lovers of all ages, from toddlers, really enjoying this art.
Yeah. And you mentioned Sunday, so Father's Day coming up Sunday.
Yes.
Maybe an opportunity or an idea for you. Half price.
Yep.
We like that.
Yeah,
want good weather for it.
It's going to rain a little bit on Father's Day, which we do need the rain, so maybe inside is also a great option for you, and we wanted to cool down as well. Today, we did see some cloud cover. That helped us out just a bit. As you take a look at the Skycam time-lapse from our Dallas Skycam, you saw that mix of sun and clouds greeting you, some higher-level clouds kind of pushing their way in, leftovers from some thunderstorms that we saw pushing its way into parts of North Texas. Still sitting at 96 degrees, feeling like 100. So we topped out at 94 degrees as we widen out the view. Take a look at Midland, 101 today. Laredo, same story. Amarillo at 102. So we definitely have the heat still holding on across parts of North Texas. And across the Metroplex, it was 94 officially at DFW, but 96 in Arlington, 91 in McKinney, slightly cooler thanks to some rain and that cloud cover holding on, and 92 in Denton. So this is the thunderstorm activity as the backdoor radar up by about 5 to 6 hours. You're able to see it push its way out of Oklahoma. We had some outflow boundaries develop, so that allowed these thunderstorms to really generate along those, then push their way north to south, and then die out as we've gone throughout the afternoon. We're still sitting in the mid-90s across parts of the Metroplex. North Texas, slightly cooler up in Sherman at 90. It's 82 in Gainesville to 88 right now in Bowie, and 88 in Paris. So going into the evening hours, our rain chances and temperatures really are going to be low. 10% at least for the rain chance. Temperatures not too low. We're at 88 degrees by the time we get to about 11 o'clock. Now, going into overnight and into tomorrow morning, I'm going to watch more thunderstorms developing in the panhandle of Oklahoma, trying to work their way north to south. We could see another weak boundary pushing its way into parts of North Texas, and maybe a couple of spotty showers as we then go into tomorrow afternoon with that 20% rain chance holding on because of that leftover boundary. So temperatures start in the upper 70s. We warm our way into the mid to the upper 90s. It's going to be a pretty warm one going into tomorrow. But there's cooler on the way thanks to tropical moisture. Right now, as we take a look, we are watching this area of thunderstorm activity. You can see on the visible satellite these thunderstorms trying to hold together. That's the area of disturbed weather we will continue to keep our eyes on. And as we go through the end of the week and into the weekend, it has about a 20% chance of development into a tropical system over the next 5 days. It possibly will work its way into the Western Gulf, and as that gets a little bit closer towards us, we are going to be dealing with the potential then of maybe some tropical moisture getting closer towards North Texas. What that means for you is your temperatures start to come down as the moisture content goes up. We have those rain chances go up, and we are going to be seeing temperatures finally responding to that and our pattern changing. 95 Saturday, then on Father's Day, as I was talking about, rain chances at 30%. 90 will be your high temperature. And then Doug and Gilma, hang on to your hats. Monday and Tuesday, highs only in the upper 80s, and rain chances around 50% to start out next week.
That's
so much cooler. Thank you, Scott.
You're welcome. Well, take a bow, Daddy.
Yeah.
Hey! 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 Hey!
Newly released dashcam video shows the moment an Illinois police officer rescues a toddler who was running alongside of a busy road. At one point, a large truck passes by the boy. Investigators say the 1-year-old was at home with his mom when he somehow wandered outside. No one was hurt, thankfully. Sergeant Anthony Menino received his department's life-saving award for his actions.
Well, he should. That'll make your heart drop looking at that. Local police need your help finding a couple of thieves before they can strike again.
And counting down to the closing days, how Toys R Us hopes to get customers in its stores one last time before the former retail giant is gone for good. But first, here's what's coming up tonight on CBS 11. Southlake police search for two women they say spent more than $4,500 on a stolen credit card. Police say a customer at Trader Joe's on East Southlake Boulevard noticed these women following her. She says when she checked out her purse, her wallet was gone. Police say surveillance footage shows the women using the card at several stores. Anyone who knows them should call Southlake police. Arlington police are trying to find these two men. Police say the men took the security device off an iPhone 10 and ran. And this happened at the Verizon Wireless store on North College Street. They say the suspects tried to steal other devices but couldn't. So if you recognize either suspect, give Arlington police a call.
Toys R Us throwing a store-wide sale, as you'd well imagine, in the final days before they close the doors forever. Almost everything in the stores is 50 to 70% off right now. All sales are final. The toy retail giant, of course, filed for bankruptcy last year. The Dallas Toys R Us, we understand, officially shut down on June 30th. That's the date. That'll make it one of the last 3 U.S. stores to do so. A woman followed from a mechanic's to a North Texas grocery store tonight at 6 o'clock. A warning about a stranger who forced car repairs on her and then demanded money.
We had some pop-up storms earlier, but unfortunately they were pretty short-lived.
They were short-lived, and we all need the rain for us. And we have better rain chances in the forecast for the next few days. Hot and humid again.
Thank you, Scott.
News continues on the website, cbsdfw.com. We'll see you at 6 o'clock.